Welcome. Time to check the game notes. This is the trade deadline preview show. We need the chat buzzing today with the proposals. Get in there, fire them up. We'll be pulling them up there, going through them the whole show. First off, this show today is brought to you by Body Armor Flash IV. Body Armor Flash IV is packed with electrolytes and provides faster and longer lasting hydration with no artificial flavors, sweeteners, or dyes. With great tasting flavors like strawberry kiwi and tropical punch, Body Armor Flash IV gives your body the rehydration it needs to recover. I love these Body Armor Flash IVs because when we played Army, we didn't have this kind of stuff. We had to go buy the little electrolyte pills and all these powders, and then you'd be making these potions in the locker room. Now I would just go to the store, I'd grab 3 of those, I'd line them up in my stall, one after each period, and it would be easy. It'd be a no-brainer. So get your Body Armor Flash IV today at 7-Eleven.
Oh, I love it. I love it. You're right. We grinded. We used to grind, buddy. Remember Mondays in the minors? We wouldn't leave our beds. The only time I would is to get my pizza at the door because I had to order it. Sleeping in the shower, trying to shake it off, just trying to get ready for a week of practice until another 4 games in 5 days and a 3-3 weekend. Yep, that's the American League, Murls. That's what we survived through. That's how we did it. And man, did I need body armor this past week. Got home. NHL season kicked back in after 4 nations. Great trip. Unbelievable. What a win by Canada, of course. We've all talked about it. NHL back underway, but I jumped right in, Murls, into the Mario Lemieux fantasy camp. What a great few days. I did chuck a couple afternoon TNT games in there on the Sunday. So I left on Saturday night, returned on Sunday night, just in time to get back in the lobby bar and get it going. Couple cocktails with the boys. 9 a.m. games the next 2 days, though. So needless to say, we were hurting. But my team, Murls, we lost the first 2 games. And I missed the first game, the second game, 9 a.m. after lobby bar. Got in there. It was Pierre Turgeon on my team, the great Larry Murphy on my team, and I was the other pro. And then we had Pierre Maguire as the head coach with Brian Trottier as co-head coaches. Did a great job with the boys. Our team was like, Murls, you ever been on a team where, like, as the year goes on, you hear like, oh, we're coming together. Like, we just came together, man.
We're gelling. Team is gelling right now.
And we started gelling as it went on. We lost the first 2 games. Actually, my first game when I came back that morning, we got shelled. We got our asses handed to us. And after that, we just got one of the guys on our team works for Nike and like brought us sunglasses to wear, like just nice gift by him. Matty Ellenberger. Thank you, buddy. By the way, there he is. He's in the chat. Shades changed everything. Matty says. Ooh. Matty Ellenberger.
That's him.
Yeah, that's him right there. Shades. We put on the sunglasses in the room, but while we were getting dressed, and then we started. Me and my buddy Charlie Bell, we came up with a thing. You got to have a beer before the game, so it started loosening the boys up. That's what got us gelling.
This.
Yes, Murls, this is right up your alley, right? So then we ripped off all the wins in a row, right to the final, 2-1 game. And a guy on our team scored 2 goals. DJ, shout out DJ. We won 2-1 in the final and took it down. I think I got some pictures in there. If Pasha wants to pop them up at all, I believe I send them to him in lead up to this great big preview show. There's the trainers. Those are the trainers. Murls, you know about the trainers, how good they are. Best. Rolly and the boys and Benny. Shout out to Benny, local Pittsburgh guy, Sharpen Skates, has his own skate shop. If you're in the Pittsburgh area, go see him. Profiling, anything you need with blades, skates, everything. He kind of runs the show there, but all these guys come in. This is the whole training staff for every team, all 4 teams in this week tournament that we do with Mario and all his legendary buddies that come in. So what a great week. There it is. Championship picture. All the boys around the Lemieux 66 Cup.
He's out there. I see Ace out there.
Yeah, he's in the picture with us. Unbelievable. Isn't he unreal? He's unreal. Just a legend. Right from Montreal, 4 Nations, standing ovation, lobby beers with the armed dog. Ty Domi was there, all his buddies, everyone. So Matthew Barnaby putting on a clinic, ex-Sabre. You love that guy. Great with the campers. And what a week. What a week with these guys. Just great guys. Some of them stink. Some of them are better. But it was all came together for a really good week, boys. I loved it. So shout out to the trainer. Shout out to Mario. What a legend. absolute legend that I get to hang out with him and be at those things, and the food, the dinners, casino night, little bit of everything we had in the mix, Murls. So made for a real fun time. So I got out of that. Needless to say, I'm sore. I'm a little bit tired, but I had a great time. Every year I look forward to that, buddy. Should do like
I need to get in on that. It's terrible timing this year after the 2 weeks of Four Nations decathlon. I couldn't go to Pittsburgh for 4 days, but next year
I know.
I would like an invite to that camp.
I will say this, buddy. Everyone, like Benny has a speaker out while he's sharpening skates in the morning on the Tuesday morning. And he's like a legend at listening to Chicklets, and all the boys and all the guys in there are like, what's the chances the Chicklets guys will all come? Or what can we get the whole crew down? Get the game notes. We'll be on the game notes. You see some of the guys are here in the chat. Good to see them, but big fans. They listen to everything and they're dialed in. So Grinnell, we'll be sending you some requests for Lemieux camp. I know they've put a few in before, so we'll see if we can make that work. But maybe we should do our own like Chicklets fantasy camp somewhere. That would be unbelievable.
The problem is Witt won't go on the ice. I don't
think
he
can coach.
He's just standing coaching, look like Lemieux out there. He'll just come out for the team picture at the end.
Yep, that's all you do. Yep, hand out the awards at the end and stand on the bench and coach a few teams. Every team, he rotates around in there, break up the boys, invite some of our buddies. We know a lot of guys, some Chicklets and Game Notes favorites that we could have and invite. And I think that'd be a great thing. That'd be unbelievable.
Let's get G in here. Where is the G? Get him in here. See what's going on in Chicklets land. I saw the boys were on Amazon last night up in Canada.
Oh, I just love when the boys are on Amazon because I'm getting lunch with Biz after this, which means I go from eating a nice McDouble, a daily double, to a nice steak for lunch, boys. I love when Biz is in town. It's the absolute best. And also, Army, shout out to you wearing the new Canadians merch. It pains me to see you in it. It pains me especially because we had maybe the coolest collab we've ever done with Leonard Skinner. We had Freebird hockey merch, all this unbelievable USA hockey, Freebird hockey merch, teamed up with Leonard Skinner. They were going to promote it as well. But we said we're only releasing it if the US wins. We don't want to jinx them. US lost. We released it anyways. Fuck it. So the t-shirts are on sale now. Go buy them. But man, it would be awesome to see all the boys after the game in the Freebird hockey shirts. But the Canadian stuff's pretty sick too there, Army.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. Like Leonard Skinner back. It's the back of this hoodie. Go check it out. Are they all sold out? Is everything selling out, or we got like lots so you can just keep?
We got tons. It's
awesome.
You can imagine.
Yeah, the back is awesome, like Leonard Skinner style too, and the logo here also with the hockey player that he's just like
it's unreal.
Great,
and there's tons of it too.
Soft material. Like I love that as like a fat dad now, just wearing the nice hoodies that are soft is just so perfect, especially after a week of playing 5 hockey games and winning a championship. My muscles are sore. I just throw this baby on and I got the Canadian pride that we won that Four Nations too. So beautiful stuff, G. Unbelievable. Where are you going to go for dinner? Steakhouse? You are doing a steakhouse with Biz?
That same probably in Hoboken. Biz ate at 7 times.
Del Frisco's. Biz goes to Del Frisco's. It's right next to his hotel. And it's a good spot. I'll give you that. It's a good spot. But Hoboken, Jersey food. It's you don't go to a chain in Hoboken. You go to like a local hole in the wall Italian place that like you're going to get the best chicken parm as long as you're on you've ever had. But Biz likes Del Frisco's. He's paying. I'm eating whatever he tells me to. Steak and mashed potatoes. I don't care.
Oh, yeah. Great episode, too, of Chicklets this week as well with Coop and Brady and the stories and regaling the Four Nations and the behind-the-scenes shit. I mean, it was awesome. And then the Chicklets boys, the whole crew, those 3 knuckleheads, all on that Amazon. So it was a busy week for the boys, just dropping it. It was unreal.
I thought I agree, Army. I thought it was an unbelievable episode this week, but my favorite part by far, I think, was listening to Brady talk about while Matthew was fighting and how he was like, I just lost all control. All I could yell was fucking rights. Let's go. So it's cool to hear they're brothers at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So it's cool to hear the brother aspect of that. And yeah, great show. Go check it out.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Great show. While we're still talking Four Nations, I got to say, I had the best part about it. I ran into a ton of old teammates. Hugh Jessman up in Montreal. Guys,
huge specimen.
Yep. Johnny DeSalvatore, I run into in Boston, all these just randomly running into these guys. And then at the Pink Whitney meetup, AJ Baines, we run into him, I used to battle with this guy in the AHL. And then he's, hey, Murls, let's do some Pink Whitney.
Hand up. I was like ripping this guy off you. You came down the stairs and you're walking through the crowd handing out the Pink Whitney, and this guy keeps like throwing his arm around you, and I'm like, buddy, cut this shit. I'm like, Merle, we're filming a video here. We're filming a video. He ignores me. Finally, like I grab his shoulder, kind of turn him around, and I'm like, we're filming a video, and Merle's just like, whoa, I played with this guy, Grinnell. Relax. I'm like, fuck, all right. Shit,
I think he was trying to get through from me to get to Army. He's like, Western League guys.
Western Leaguer.
Yeah.
Yep. AJ Baines, great junior player out west, and then great in the American League, man. He was like a water bug style guy, hard-nosed guy. It's great running into him. He was all smiles, nice. Couldn't have been a nicer guy. Hey, typical hockey guys, and just running into all these guys. Your coach there, what was your buddy's name that came to the meet and greet too that we were hanging out with? Where's he at?
No, Bags, the equipment guy from Union. Bags.
Oh, Union, yeah.
Might get him in trouble for saying he was there.
Oh, he was awesome. Just such a nice guy. Yeah, such a good dude. Great talking hockey with him and the history with you and how long you guys have known each other. Just a deadly guy. Super good dude. Yep. So great meeting all these people. That was an unreal meet and greet. Just the chants back and forth and back to reality now. Regular NHL boys, but Chicklets, decathlon, Murls survived. Murls, I saw you're skiing. You just got back and just hit the slopes?
Oh, right to work. My daughter, she's 4 years old. I think she might be the next Lindsey Vaughn. She's just going up and down, and I'm the worst skier. I'm brutal, so I'm trying to get better for the big family ski trip coming up.
How's the skiing in Sweden?
Yeah, they got mountains, like not huge mountains.
Here we go. This is my little one here today. This is 5 minutes from my house. So right there's the skiing. But today we did sledding. So I'm like, it's Friday. All the kids are at school. I'm going to take her sledding. You guys have these, by the way, in the U.S.?
What is
raft? This thing. So I go there and I jump on this with my daughter. And this hill is like pressed down with the skiing machines. They press down this hill. We are flying down on this. I call it a raft or a mattress. We're spinning, going backwards, crashing into the woods. It was amazing. If they don't sell these in the US, some entrepreneur grab those, put a Chicklets logo on them and start selling them. Every kid has one here. But anyway, I thought I was going to be the only one there. I show up, there's a school field trip there. So in Sweden, they're the best over here. I don't know why I'm taking my kid home to US school, but the entire school was there. They all got helmets on. They're all sledding. Some of the kids are cross-country skiing. They all get on the bus afterwards. It was amazing. But the best part about it was some of these helmets. I don't know where these kids get these helmets. Remember Peter Klima, the Jofa?
Yeah.
I saw one of those bright yellow. I saw a bunch of the old Gretzky, like red ones. It was so funny seeing some of these old
kids all wear the reflectors on, like, the kids in Sweden, they have like, it's like they're construction workers on all their winter coats. Really? They all have reflectors on there in case, diaper ass Murls is flying down on a crazy carpet. You can see the kids where they are when he's bullying the school trip kids on the ski hill. What a legend.
I love the fact that they're wearing throwback hockey helmets, because every time I go skiing, my goal is just to wear like the sickest throwback hockey jersey, merch, anything. Like, you're going down the hill and like, I got this unreal throwback Pavel Bure jersey. I love wearing that at the mountain. I think that's style on the mountain.
I heard that's like a thing. Like, if you're going skiing, I was talking to my buddy's kid, they're skiing around here, as you know, Murls, up where you're from, and people take trips up there. The coolest trend to do if you're like a kid or you're somebody out on the hills and you're skiing or the mountain is to wear like a jersey, to get a hockey, like that's like the thing now. That's what they were telling me. They're like, if you have to have like the coolest throwback, like one-off like hockey jersey and wear that, because that's like the coolest. All the snowboarders, skiers, everyone's got these jerseys on. I love that. That must be awesome skiing. Yeah,
yeah. And it creates conversation too. You're like, what? Like, I'd wear my Brian Rafalski jersey and someone will come up to you in the ski lift line and be like, dude, I fucking love Rafalski. Like, let me grab you a shot after this. And you're like, hey, sure, I'll take it.
Yeah. Pink Whitney nips just scattered all over the ski hill with the hockey crew. Freaking right.
So I'll drop some knowledge on you guys in the chat right now, because I'm going there in 3 weeks. The biggest ski village here is called Aura. So maybe in the hometown of the Lundqvist boys. So Henrik Lundqvist is from this town, or it's the biggest ski village. So maybe I'll wear a Lundqvist jersey there in his hometown. I'll get a lot of praise on the gondolas and stuff.
Got to be a throwback Lundqvist jersey though. Like maybe his team in Sweden. Yeah,
with his brother. Where's his brother? Give him some love. Hey, he's a legend back in Sweden too. He was Frölunda captain when I was playing there.
Yeah, he was until like last season. I think he played 25 years or something for them.
Joel Lundqvist. Yeah,
insane. All right, moving on. We got to get this next guy out here. I know he's busy right now. He's in the back. He's mining meme coins as we speak instead of doing his job. But we need to address the biggest story from Chicklets that we were just talking about. What happened with the Witt meme coin, Pasha?
Yeah, set up our chat. You know, our chat is highly involved, as you know, Pasha, and they'll be hanging on every word and advice that you have here in this situation. So
I don't have any advice. The picture was painted the wrong way. I am not a meme coin junkie as they describe me. This the greed coin, Dave's coin, was the first meme coin I've ever invested in. I'm in the crypto world. Bitcoin is kind of my big play. I believe in that long term, but like meme coins are completely different than like legitimate cryptos. Like meme coins are gambling, but I'm not a meme coin junkie. This was just like, oh, Dave, my employer is launching a coin. Let's invest, blah, blah, blah. That's the first and now definitely last meme coin I'll ever invest in. But an absolute debacle. I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, you had to be sick to your stomach. But you got to watch these things like crazy, I feel like. It's like penny stocks. Yes. They go up, they go down. It's just like you got to sit there with like 4 computer screens in a lab and just be watching the graphs shooting around, and you got to play it perfectly. I feel it's like highly risky, and so I don't understand Bitcoin at all. Like I don't get it at all. I know I see Dave, on it now, and he was doing it in DDDGD with his little show that he does. And is Bitcoin a coin, or is that just a name for the crypto in general, or is that a style of coin that you can get in on, or I see these like other ones?
Yeah, it's a type of coin. I mean, I'm going to do a brutal job of explaining it, but they kind of call it digital gold, and it's more so like a store of value versus a coin that you use to make sort of exchanges. Like you shouldn't be using Bitcoin to be buying stuff online. It has a much slower sort of processing time than a lot of other coins that are used like transactionally. Bitcoin is more kind of park your money long-term type coin.
Libby Murr says CoinGate. She's calling it she's calling it CoinGate. They're trying for PashaGate, but I like CoinGate the best.
That one would sell. Yeah, I guess you got to be quick. You can make the money in a minute and get out, but you got to be quick. You can't be like Witt and go on for a mite practice.
For meme coins, like Dave said, in the meme coin world, like 10 seconds is like 10 years. So, absolute debacle. I also took it on the chin, just like Witt. So both of us tail between our legs, licking our wounds. But ready for that story to die.
Drew in the chat says, follow the Nancy Pelosi investment strategy. That's what you need to do next, is you need to get into Nancy Pelosi's stockpiles and then start sending those to Witt so he can win his money back. And it sounds like it's like a no brainer. Coin dog incoming. I love the chat. I got to wait a week to see the chat. Let's go. We're buzzing today. I love it.
All right. Thanks, Pasha. We're going to see you later when we get to the Devils, the trade deadline preview. We're going to go through every team during this. Eastern Conference, bottom to top in the standings. Western Conference, bottom to top in the standings. So you can be ready, chat with your proposals. But first, we got to snap it around the NHL, some current news. And the way we're going to do that is our game notes, team of the week. Of course, the biggest news has been Alex Ovechkin. He comes out of the break. It looks like he went back on the Russian gas while he was gone. Lights it up. Hat trick. Another goal. What are we now? 12 away? It's incredible.
12 away, I believe. Yep.
A credible week again by him. He's been on this team all year, I feel like. So, Ovi, first forward up.
Yeah, unbelievable. I was working at TNT that afternoon game when he just slammed a hat trick down. It's just crazy how he's been rolling, too. And it's like you need 13? Was it 12? 12 now?
I think it's 12.
It's like he could do that in like 2 weeks. And you're trying to guess when he's going to do it. And I think Bucci's been on this one date. We got to be coming really close to it. Bucci from ESPN, he coined this date like 4 or 5 years ago. Just absolutely insane what he's done and how he's nailed it. But yeah, it's like 2 weeks and anything could happen. We see on the list there, Clayton Keller, Utah, 2 goals, 7 assists in 4 games. Absolute weapon right now. And this year for that team. And he's a guy that's hunting the U.S. Olympic team next year, and just maybe some revenge and a little anger in his belly as he's pushing through after this 4 Nations, but a solid week for him.
Yeah, 5 points last night. And I mean, I got to let you have the next guy too. It's
Yeah.
your buddy,
Yeah.
good Western boy.
Yeah, we had his brother Luke on here, 1,000 games, and now it's him, Braden Schenn, St. Louis Blues captain, 1,000 games the other day. Was it yesterday, last night? And yeah, amazing for him and his dad and his family there, and the kind of teammate he is and guy he is. I've known him forever. I've known him and Luke forever. Grew up like a block away from me. Just rock solid guys, and both of them hitting 1,000 games together the same year. Pretty amazing. And we're going to recognize those guys. I'm going to recognize the Saskatoon guys and the Western guys. So congrats to Braden Schenn, a good veteran guy, and his name is percolating around the trades and around the league, and who could get him, and are they going to give him up? And still today, I think Darren Drager said, back to Braden Schenn, like what's going to happen with him, we'll have to wait and see. If they're going to have to knock Armstrong's socks off possibly with a deal, but his name is out there. So congrats on 1,000 games, though, big boy.
Yep. Next up, Suzuki from Montreal, 3 goals, 5 assists in 3 games. They go 3-0. They can't figure out if they want to stay in the playoff hunt or if they want to tank for a draft pick. I don't know what they're doing, but right again, they're back in it again with 3 straight wins. And thanks to their captain, Suzuki, does it all for them.
Does it all. And what a goal by freaking Goal Caulfield last night. OT between his legs. How's she going? Tucks it upstairs, throws his stick in the stands. Like, that's just next level right there. Ryan Suter to the defenseman, St. Louis. That's where he is now, in case you're wondering. Just in a rocking chair, cool, easy breezy, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Used to be like 32 minutes, not even breaking a sweat. He's getting paid by 5 different teams, I think. He's hitting bonuses left and right, and he just played his 1,500th game. So you want to talk about a guy that's like kind of figured it out, Mur? Like, Suter is a guy he's getting paychecks out the ass, and he's getting bonuses hit everywhere. And the longevity of him to play 1,500 games, you're on the game notes team of the week, buddy.
Yeah, when I just talked about Montreal 3-0, and Sam Montembeault was in net for all 3 of them. He was the 3rd string goalie up in Canada. Didn't see any action. I saw him actually sitting in the press box a couple of the games next to us. So to be able to jump right back into the games and play this well for them, got to have him on there as goalie. A lot of good goalies this week. Vasilevsky was up there. Who's the Utah goalie? The right-hander.
You got to say it. You got to say it.
Kamelka.
Just take
What's
a
his
shot
name?
at it.
What I can't even remember it. Kamelka? What's his
Vamelka.
name? What is it?
Vamelka.
Zamelka, yeah, righty. He had 3-0 too, but I had to go with Montreal. We were just up there. Got to show him some love. So
Attaboy.
There he is.
Attaboy. And then the rookie just beat up on the Penguins the other day with a couple more goals, end up giving a 3-0 lead away to those Flyers. But having a great rookie push, 19 goals now on the season, 44 points, and 3 goals in his last 3 games, including 2 yesterday and a 3-point night against the Penguins, and a 3-game point streak right now that he's kicking ass in, and +6 Murls, +6 in those 3 games as well. And I know you love that
thing. And I just want to talk to you quickly about this Rookie of the Year, as we're on that topic before we get to the trade, since we are a gambling show at our core. I said, oh, wow, let me look up those rookies scoring. It's Michkov and Lane Hudson are the top scoring rookies. Celebrini is a little bit lower because he's played less games, but Celebrini's -250, Hudson +450, and Michkov is +650. I feel like I don't think that race is over with, but the DraftKings Sportsbook seems to think so.
That's crazy that it's that big of a difference, right?
Yeah.
I feel like.
If Michkov keeps going like this, don't you think he takes it?
Yeah, I think so. Like, what are we looking at? Like production, like importance to team. And I know like San Jose stinks. So, he's like Celebrini, I think, is on the tip of everyone's tongue when talking about it. He got walked by Goal Caulfield last night. I mean, it just absolutely walked around. But I don't know. I think we got to let this thing play out. But I like all those odds. I do like those odds. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, what if Montreal somehow keeps going, gets in the playoffs, and then Lane Hudson still leads all rookies in points as a defenseman? How does
Yeah,
he
I
not
mean,
take it?
how does
I
he
think
not
that
take it?
Celebrini's getting a lot of pump, and the odds haven't changed. So if you're looking for a value play, Jazz probably is already on it.
Yeah,
Plus
and this
650 for Michkov.
Yeah, and Lane Hudson, friend of the show for sure. So we gotta have a little skin in the game with him as our guy.
Mhm.
What do we
That's
got
our
here?
guy. Do you see his brother's goal, by the way, for BU the other day? Cole Hudson.
God, yeah, he did it was like a Rick Nash kind of move or something.
Jesus.
It was crazy.
That was
crazy.
insane.
Did he do with his
Insane.
skates untied? That's the big question. I love it.
All right. Anything else before we get to the previews?
I'm good.
Yeah, the previews. The Eastern Conference is going up first.
Yeah, let's get the Eastern Conference going.
Get it going. All right, chat. This is your time to shine. We got the wild card standings. That's the wild card stand. We're starting off at the top. First is Washington. Do you mess with this chemistry? You're going to be adding Leonard at the end of the Frozen Four, or maybe sooner if they get knocked out sooner. Washington is a vibe team. What do you think?
Real quick, could I just jump in here, guys? So you
Yep.
just mentioned Cole Hudson. Cole Hudson is also a Washington draft pick. I feel like, he dominated World Juniors. He dominated the Beanpot. He's dominating the NCAA on a nightly basis. Ryan Leonard, inevitable. He is going to the Capitals at the end of the season. But would you guys have seen him play now? Would you take Cole Hudson and at least throw him into the lineup here as, sixth, seventh defenseman just to try to give him some experience here?
Yeah, I think a good option down the stretch is to try to get them in there, right? Like, will they make it to the Frozen 4G?
I would. BU has a good chance, but I don't.
They beat BC in the Beanpot. Oh,
they did, but I do not think BU will be in the Frozen Four. And even if they are in the Frozen Four, he can still jump in after the Frozen Four.
Yeah, jump in after. I agree with that. I like that. I think to get them a little bit of experience and get them some games in there, and then at least keep them around for the run. There's no question those guys are going to be. I think they're going to be there once they have all these guys there. So to Murls' point, when I look at this, what do they need? What do they need? They found gold with two undrafted goaltenders that are lights out for them right now. Unbelievable. Chikrin's been a crazy pickup. Ottawa fans are going, what the hell's going on here? I mean, this guy's on his way to like 25 goals this year too, on top of being big, strong, and providing all that and taking some heat off of Carlson a little bit on the back end too with production wise. But Murls, I look at them and I'm like, just hang tight.
Okay.
I think just hang tight. Like, you got a good thing going. You got Dubois worked out. Sandin's kind of worked out. You got guys, Mangiapane, that everyone kind of has their role. They're in a really good spot right now. And I don't know if people look at them as being a cup favorite still, which is crazy, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I'm thinking sit nicely, and if there's a couple little minor moves or depth things you can do, maybe look at that. But I wouldn't be like picking up the phone and just going crazy if I was a Caps right now. I think they're in a good spot, sneaky good spot.
Yeah, the only thing I saw is that they were looking maybe for an upgrade on third line for Eller. You drop Eller down to the fourth spot. But yeah, you don't mess with that. You don't want to mess with guys' ice time. The guys are used to playing the power play, used to 20 minutes. But we'll move on. We're going to try to keep each team under about 2 minutes. We'll see. Some will go a little longer.
Oh, AJ Harris in the chat. Eller for Lawton. I know Lawton's a guy that's been out there. I don't mind that idea. I mean, it would suck for, Eller, but maybe they can just dish a couple draft picks, pick up Lawton, ho-hum, maybe a rent, like I don't even think he's a free agent, is he? Well, I think he's still got a year left on his deal after. So I don't know.
Yeah, but he is on the market. I'm pretty sure he is on the market. So
he's on the market like the last 3 years, Murls. Crazy.
Everybody in Philly should be on the market.
They are.
Except Michkov. Yeah. Including Jazz. So, all right, let's go on. Let's move on. Let's go to Florida. My sources are telling me they're in the market for a D man.
They need a D. Yeah, I was buzzing around there working some games. You look at their team, free agents, Bennett, Ekblad, of course, we know that. UFAs at the end of the year. Those are two big name guys, right? And they've had some new guys kind of pop. This Sam Miskevich is pretty good. And they're kind of retooling a little bit and having some fit with some guys and what's going to work. But there's no question to me in talking around their team is that another D-man would be huge in Florida, down in Florida, and like style, fit, obviously big, maybe not the biggest splash that you need, but somebody that can come in and provide either a tandem style defenseman, almost like a Mikala kind of guy, right?
Yeah,
They need
I got
another
the guy.
You got
the
him?
guy. I just looked at the trade board. How about Jamie Alexiak?
Ooh.
That's your guy. Big guy. That's right there. That's a nice fit.
Yeah, gets up the ice well, skates well for a big guy, like they like to say in the biz. And plays a little bit of a nasty game and can play that tandem style. Like put him with someone. Okay, he's a good support, good partner, defense partner. And that's kind of up their alley of pattern of defensemen that they'd be looking at. And I don't know what you had to give up to a guy like Alexiak. What do you got to give up for that?
Zito will figure it out. He's a magic man down there, but we move on. This team, I'm sure, will go over the 2-minute allotted time. The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, my goodness. Tavares, Marner, UFAs at the end of the year. That's the big hanging thing over top of them. Cap space, everything around it. What can they fit? What can they make work? Who can they get? I saw Nick Kyprios, Murls. Did you see that? He was talking about getting Rantanen there without having to give up Marner and being able to afford it and pay for it. I find that highly interesting. I don't know how. I don't know how that's going to work and how that's going to shake out at the end of the year. But there's no question, Murls. I think we can all agree they're in win now. They're in win now. They got the coach with the attitude, with the mentality. They've got the team that they feel is playing, I think, better hockey stylistically to win in the playoffs. They don't have a first-round pick in, I believe, next year, or is it this year's draft? I'd have to go search that up. Maybe
you'd have to ask Biz, the Leafs jock sniffer. That
Leafs jock sniffer, yeah. And but like, I think like what you have left and where you are cap wise and what you can make work. They have a couple million in cap space, and they have no first round pick this year coming up. They have one next year. So like, what can you make to make this work? A second? They don't have a second in 26. They have a third in each year. They don't have fourth round picks in the next 2 years. I mean, they're pretty lean on some of their picks, so they're going to have to be really crafty. Robertson's a guy's name that's popped up. What kind of offer can you get for a guy like that, or are you going to have to move on from one of your big guys, right? What do you think?
We're going to try to probably land Rantanen on every team, and that's why we're going to skip ahead now to Carolina. What are they going to do with this guy? Are they going to trade him? Are they going to just try to win the cup this year and let him walk?
They're in a tough spot, Murls. They're in a tough spot because they made that trade. They gave up a guy. Is he going to be the right fit? I think for them and stylistically, the way they play, the fit is so big. So what are they going to look to do? Talks of trying to sign him right now. Rantanen's getting a little cold feet, maybe. I don't know if it's going to work out. Hall is in conversation right now of an extension and what could happen with that and being that guy. So, they got a lot of UFAs, though. They got Rantanen, Hall, Roslovic, Orlov, Burns, and Anderson and net all coming up off the book. So I feel like they're in a weird and a tough spot for their GM right now, who made that trade and who wants to make it work right now. And looking at the big picture of having to re-sign some guys a little long in the tooth as well, and what you're going to do and some kind of key players through their lineup. So I don't know, maybe not a bad idea to flip them. But they're in win now mode too, and they have been for the last 5 years, right? So their hands are tied a little bit right now. They're in a really tough spot, and they're such a unique team stylistically because the way they play, that fit has to be so good. It has to fit.
Yeah, that's what it's a certain play there. I feel like Taylor Hall is a perfect fit down there. He's a hardworking guy, wants to go up and down the ice in straight lines. Where Rantanen, he wants to play his game.
He wants
play
to
in his
stand
spot,
on the right
doesn't
side.
want to work too hard. Let everybody else go get the puck and feed it to him. So, yes, that's the one that's going to be so interesting next week. And you know what I wish? I wanted to say this earlier. I wish the NHL would do another trade freeze right now. No movement from now until 10 a.m. Friday. So,
yes.
So then all of a sudden Friday, boom, everything starts happening. The trade deadline shows like ours go through the roof because there's just deals coming everywhere. Fast and furious. And some are making mistakes. They're making deals because I got to do something. And it'd just be more fun for everybody.
Give them time to like load up, work the phones, right? Like work the phones. I know they love working the phones. Work the phones, tee some things up, get them in the hopper. You know, some things might get frantic, but I think we're going to have an okay trade deadline. Like there's a lot of big moves made before Four Nations, but I think we're going to have an okay one. I think some teams I think there's a lot of teams that think they're like, they can get in. There are a lot of teams that think they can win, or they have to match against a certain team and they have to build up, right? So I think we're in for something decent.
Speaking of teams that can win it all, that are nobody's talking about till recently, is Tampa Bay Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a chance Stamkos returns?
Not with that contract, dear God. I don't think so. I mean, they're a team though that Murls, and we've seen over the last 5-6 years, they get their guy. Whether it's a big guy, whether it's those depth guys, when they need a guy or they feel they're in the right spot, they've been able to go out and find their guy. And they've made some moves that they've been criticized about, but I wouldn't count them out. And you're right, they've been secretly under the radar right now. I think when how they're playing and the skill and players that they have through their lineup for where they are. And it's like, what are they going to do? That's the question. What are they going to do? Anyone on the board that you can link up?
I'm just thinking of two guys that have been there before, Yanni Gord and Blake Coleman. Coop, he talked about why he brought those Tampa guys to Team Canada. He knows what he can get out of them. So I see a little familiarity with those guys, small, speedy guys. So I mean, I love this Tampa team. I love this Hagel kid. I think he scored every game since he's been back from Four Nations.
Was he have 30 tucks? I think he has 30. Empty netter last night. 29. Unbelievable, this guy. He's an engine. He's an absolute engine out there.
And now we're on to our next team where we have to roll a disclaimer and bring on our guy Pasha for the New Jersey.
Warning, the following statements are about to be made by a deranged Devils fan. The views expressed are his and his only. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt because, remember, he is a deranged Devils fan.
Sorry to cut you off there, Murls, with a disclaimer.
That's what it's there for.
Listen, my team needs help. They're not in a good state right now. I mentioned it a few weeks ago. They've just been in a rut. They can't get buzzing, severely underperforming. And their two biggest needs is a top six winger. My biggest three wants in no particular order is Jared McCann, Alex Tuck, or Ricky Rax, Ricard Raquel. One of these guys needs to slot next to Jack Hughes, someone that can just bury the chances that Jack puts on a platter. I love Andre Palat's game. I think he's very useful in the bottom six, but I don't love him on the top six or, the first line playing with Jack. So that's a big need. And a sleeper pick, I actually just saw Frank Saravelli this morning saying JJ Peterka is available out of Buffalo. I love his game.
Ooh.
I think he'd be a nice add. Probably not too expensive. I mean, the Devils have a lot of prospects and picks to play with. I believe they have 3 second rounders, and I could see them trading a guy like Seamus Casey, who has a lot of value. So that's the big need. And then another need is a third line center. Their bottom six has been an absolute joke. I think Ryan O'Reilly would be a really nice add, depending on price. And then a more realistic one would be Jake Evans, who, everyone thinks is going to get for sure traded. So I saw Elliot Friedman said that he said the one team that every team in the league is convinced will trade for a center 100% is the Devils.
Damn. And don't you think, like in our conversations over the last few weeks of what they need a big body forward, don't you think? Is Evans big enough? I think he's had a great season, no question, in Montreal, but and then O'Reilly, like he doesn't fit, like kind of maybe the yin and the yang can kind of feed off each other a little bit slower, kind of stylistic to fit into that.
I think the bigger body, like an Alex Tuck is a big body. I think
that's the name.
I think he would be a really nice add. I'm not so sure they need more size in their bottom six. Their bottom six needs some skill, some speed. It needs a lot. I mean,
So top six, you need size. Bottom six, you're looking for speed. Devils have a lot of work. Are they even going to make the playoffs at this point? We don't know, but that's our 2 minutes for the Devils. We got to move on to a team that is up and coming, on the rise. Everyone's favorite team right now, the Columbus Blue Jackets. They got to go all in, right?
Like this season that they're having, I think they're kind of in that Washington area of like chemistry, the room. They just got Boone Jenner, their captain, back. He's played 3 games this season, only has 5 assists, no goals. He's a massive return for them, kind of like a trade deadline pickup, Murls, in a way, right?
Yeah.
And I think you could look at it that way for them. But I would be careful not to mess with what they've got going on right now because things are clicking really good with them.
So their GM actually just came out and said that he can't sell at the deadline essentially because he owes it to this team to go all in. And a little breaking news regarding the Columbus Blue Jackets. It was just announced that Zach Werenski and Sean Monahan will be on season 2 of Amazon Face Off, which I think is awesome.
Oh, I got to see more about Werenski. I feel like he's kind of like the most unknown or talked about because of Columbus a little bit and how their teams have been. And we saw him at the Four Nations and how good he is. And like, it was just on display. Like, I want to know more about him. So that's awesome.
Monahan too. I think everything that Monahan's dealt with this past year, you know,
crazy.
You know, I think it would be really interesting to see, you know, how he's handled all this.
Let me go through this too a little bit with their team. Thanks, G. That was awesome. Like I'm looking for, I love those things now, how they do that. That's so good. Corrali up. Danforth, Matthew Olivier having a career year right now. Up. Voronkov, RFA. What's he gonna garner? That's gonna be a payday for him. Van Riemsdyk, who's been a good veteran fit. You go down at right now. Defenseman, Goodbranson will be up. Fabro up. And Jack Johnson, another guy, but like all their pieces kind of fit. They have a ton of cap space too, Murls, a ton. And they've got 2 first-rounders this year in the draft as well. So you got some things you can sling around, you know?
So you're talking cap space. Then the first guy that pops out to me is Seth Jones. Seth Jones go there. Maybe he gets back. He's been there before. Little, you know, he's comfortable there. Maybe that really gets him going. That'd be a nice little ad at the deadline. But Columbus is great. Outdoor game on Saturday again versus Detroit, and that's moves us on to Detroit. It's a huge game. They played last night. Columbus won 5-2. Another big one Saturday. These are the 2 teams that own the wild card right now. We love to see it. Detroit. Are we bringing on our Red Wings expert for this one?
When I think of Detroit, I think of one guy, and I think of one guy only. Memesy the legend. Where is he?
Coming in? He's not coming.
You guys literally told Memes 2 seconds before the show he didn't need to be used this show.
No, but that was for more than that was not for the Detroit part, not for the other part.
Well, I'm looking at them. I'm looking at them. Patty Kane up at the end of the year. We know that. Christian Fisher, depth guy for them. Tyler Mott, depth guy, ho-hum. Petrie, veteran defenseman, UFA. And Alex Lyon. I know they've had goaltending depth issues. Talbot's been a good story for them this year. Lyon as well. I mean, they've battled. They're in and out. And Stevie Y loves draft. Look how many draft picks these guys have. It's unbelievable what they have. They have some room to make a move here. And they've always been a team that has lingered. Last year, they lost out by like a point or 2 points. Like they're right there. When are they going to take the step, Murls? When is it going to be? And what do we think that this team needs to take that step?
Well, the one thing is Kopp is out for the season, so they got his cap space there.
Mm-hmm.
They need a goalie. They need a goalie. We don't trust their goalies. All of us.
Mm-hmm.
All of us, we look at them. That's the one thing we look at. I only see 2 goalies on my trade board, and one's a stretch. First one is John Gibson. He's been on trade boards for 6 years, it seems. But I think this is finally the year. I think that could be a nice fit there. The other one I have as a dark horse is Thatcher Demko, because just he so many injuries. Vancouver just signed Lankinen. So I don't know if they would take a chance on him, but I don't know any other goalies. Does Chad have any other goalies? You know any other goalies out there?
Oh, just veteran guys that are probably free agents that are up, that are just depth guys like a Reimer, but I mean, what are we going to do here at this point? They might need to look at like a little bit of the Tampa Bay, and it's funny, Stevie Y, but just finding those perfect little pieces to pop in through the depths of their lineup and add to some of their guys, like the guys you keep bringing up, like Gord. You know, you look down Trent Frederick, a guy in Boston, you know, he might be a guy, but those teams are battling each other to get in these wild card situations. And right now, Detroit's in wild card 1, sitting in a nice spot, and they've been a decent story this year. So can they get it done? Can they hang out and get in there? Stevie Y's got some decisions to make. And does he make a splash? Stevie, give up some of those draft picks. Who cares? Who cares? You got your core guys. You got your guys you like. You got the guys you think you got. You know, I don't know. Are you still rebuilding? Is it still the Iser plan? Is it still in effect? Like, what are we waiting for here? Let's get something going.
Yeah, so the chat's saying Binner from St. Louis or Arison from the Flyers or some other goalies are on there. And then, of course, Detroit has the 2 prospects, Trey Augustine at Michigan State and is it Casa that's down in Grand Rapids. But they haven't really brought him up this year, so I don't see them going with him. Trey Augustine, yeah, he could pop in after the Frozen Four and do one of those moves.
What about your Sandine Pellikka too? Your Sandine Pellikka. Maybe does he come over at the end?
Yeah. Yeah, he could pop over too. I don't know if there's room for him. That decor is solid right now, but he could be a piece. He's a piece that could be on the move if they want to make a big play after somebody. So Detroit are happy to have them in. We need them in. I would love to go out to Detroit Little Caesars Arena for a playoff game, for their first playoff game back. So that's Detroit.
Memes will have the hair slicked. He'll have the hair all wet. He'll be dialed.
Ooh. Yeah, sorry we didn't get memes in. We miscommunicated that one. But on to the Rangers, the New York Rangers, the team that we all love, to hate. What are they going to do? I don't think anybody knows if they're buyers or sellers. What are they going to do?
They've already made some monster trades. They've already they've already gone and done some work. The Miller trade was absolutely huge. Is it paying dividends for their team right now? I don't know.
Better,
I don't know.
They're better.
He's contributing, no question. He's been good, and a guy coming over, but they got some depth guys up for UFA. Quick being one of them, who's been a decent story there in net. But they give up too many. They just give up too much. At times they look slow, and we thought like the juice and mentality of Miller would be a difference maker, of little punch to their lineup to get them some snarl and get them going. And it's kind of been clunking along. Right, they're leaking oil a bit. So what's it going to be? Oh my goodness, out of nowhere. Holy God, just comes in and nukes the Rangers. This crazy Devils fan, Murls.
Yeah,
what's it going to take for them, Murls? What's it going to take for these guys?
Well, Fox just went on the IR too, so that's not helping their situation. I saw a couple guys are sick for tonight. Keandre Miller and Kreider aren't feeling well. Maybe Miller too. So I don't know what to think of the Rangers. I don't need to see them in the playoffs. I don't really care what they do the rest of the way. Let's keep that new blood in there, Columbus, Detroit. But another team, some new blood that we all want to see get in there. But they're the same as Montreal. They can't decide if they want to. They win 6 in a row and they lose 5 of 6. Of course, Brady Tkachuk is out right now, but the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, Ottawa Senators, Giroux, UFA, good veteran guy. Gaudette, who's had a nice year for them, UFA at the end of the year. So some key guys. I got to think like Giroux was a guy like he's older guy and he's important factor on that team. When they're going, they seem to be, to me, a team that can beat you in any way you want to go. They're fairly physical. They play that style, but they have enough skill and youth through their lineup that they can play fast off the rush. I know Brady was talking about that also on Chicklets. I think they need a D. And they need to stiffen their D up. And so off of your trade board, Murls, is there any D there that makes sense for you looking at it and something that they could add that could like solidify it a little more? They got a lot of smaller kind of guys and like, it's just like skilled skating guys. And I get it. You got to have that. Is there any guys in there that would make sense to like help kind of even it out a little bit more, make them a little stiffer, a little tougher to play against defensively?
I don't know about defensively, but a bigger body and a right shot because they got the 2 good lefties would be a Noah Dobson from the Islanders that they say is available. But if you're looking for a little more toughness, Rasmus Ristolainen down in Philly, I think he's better suited as that, as just, hey, you stay at home, play D. Stop worrying about playing the power play. You're a stay-at-home D. Go hit guys, get the puck, and move it to the fast forwards.
Yeah, we got Sanderson. We've got Shabbat. We've got guys that can skate. You just do this. Alexiak, another name that could be in that mix as well as that style of guy. So that'll be interesting. I think they need that, and I think they're on the cusp right now. They need something, and they need to be healthy, but they need their big boys healthy, but they need kind of like a little something just to solidify them and stiffen them up a little bit more. I like their team, though.
Your buddy Luke Schenn would fit that.
Oh, you'd be solid.
And then what about a real wild move? You bring Erik Karlsson back there where he flourished and had the best years.
We're talking about shutdown D here, Murls. You're not talking about another one of those guys to add to the Sandersons and like, They don't need that. They need
Open
to
it up, baby.
Yeah.
Open it up.
Yeah, that's what it would be. That's what it would be. Schenn brothers to Winnipeg. We'll get to Winnipeg. Douglas Murray in the chat. Is that the Swedish Douglas Murray?
Oh, have I ever told you the story about Doug Murray when I went to Cornell to visit him on here?
No.
This guy, he was built like a refrigerator. He picked me up over his head and was spinning me around like a top. The guy was the strongest guy I've ever seen. And then we go downstairs, and we're going to have Ryan Vesey on here one of these days coming up. He will tell the story. He picked up an empty keg of beer with one hand. He picked it up and he threw it across the full street and landed on the other side, on the other sidewalk. That's how strong that guy was. He was nuts.
Oh, he's a tank.
Tank.
Absolute
He's a
tank. What was
Swedish
his
legend over
nickname?
here.
Crankshaft, I think they called him.
I
Douglas
don't know.
Murray.
He was
Habs legend.
I was scared of that guy in college. He used to dummy me all the time. Moving on to our favorite team of our producer, Mike Grinnell. We're going to bring him in here.
Oh,
the
this is gonna be big.
Bruins. Huge talks. You got Marchand, Frederick, Brazo, Carlo, rumors. What's going on in Beantown, G?
Boys, what's going on in Beantown is they
Mhm.
should have one strategy for the rest of the season. And that's horrible for Hagens. Sell, 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 sell. Brad Marchand said it in his media availability. It's really not about this season anymore. It's about next season. It's about building towards next season. And right now, my biggest issue with the Bruins is their lack of prospects. I think they're 31st in the NHL, 31st or 32nd right now with their prospect pool. They have, I think, Mason Lohrei, Matt Poitras as well, but he's been kind of up and down this season.
Mhm.
Mason Lohrei is the only guy on an entry-level contract contributing to this team right now. That's a major issue. And I think when you look at the Bruins teams, the past 15, 20 years, they haven't made that many first-round picks. Obviously, the notorious 3 in 2015, they screwed that one up. They haven't made a ton of draft picks, though, because they're always in it at the deadline, and they always deal their guys. So what I want to see here is I want to see trades, sell, load up on picks, load up on assets. So this summer, you can go make a hockey trade, or you can actually start to draft and develop and build this prospect pool into something that's worth something. So let's go through it here. Trent Frederick, goodbye. See you later. I think he is probably your most valuable asset to trade here. I think there are tons of teams that would want Trent Frederick for a playoff run. He's tough. He's scored around 20 goals in the past. He can play up and down the lineup. He can play center. He can play wing. And Pasha didn't mention him, but I think he would be great in New Jersey. I really do think he would be an awesome add in New Jersey because he's a guy, we've seen him play up and down the Bruins lineup, like I just said, and he adds that toughness. He can score goals. He can add toughness. He can play on a wing with Jack Hughes, but he can also center that third line if you need him to. So I would love to see Trent Frederick dealt for, a couple picks, maybe a couple second-round picks, maybe a prospect down the line. I think that would be great. Morgan Geekie. Morgan Geekie is one I've kind of, it's been tough. It's been tough for me because Pasta finally has someone it looks like he enjoys playing with. Pasta's just setting this guy up left and right on a nightly basis. This guy could score 30 goals this year. He could. But if he scores 30 goals, who represents Morgan Geekie? Judd. Good old Juddy. So you absolutely know that Morgan Geekie is probably going to get a bag this summer. He comes off a 30-goal season. So I'm okay if the Bruins aren't willing to give him that bag. They need to make that decision right now. Are we going to pay this guy this summer? He's going to be asking for a lot of money. So if they say no, trade him because you can. This guy's going to score 30 goals this year. You can get a lot for a guy who has already over 20 goals. So I'm okay with trading Morgan Geekie. Here's one that I think I could catch some slack for is Brandon Carlo. I'm okay with trading Brandon Carlo. He's kind of been a mainstay on this Bruins team, on the Bruins back end for years and years and years. But looking to the future, I love Brandon Carlo. Great guy. He's been a great player for this team, but he's about one concussion or two away from probably having to step away from hockey. He's had a pretty intense concussion history. So I'm okay with them dealing him right now. I feel like you could get someone to bite on a top 4 defenseman for a playoff run. So I'm okay with trading him. And then last, Justin Brazeau. There's teams that want to add to their third and fourth line. Yeah. Justin Brazeau is that. He's cheap. The X factor from last season. I don't think you'll get a ton from him, but like I said, assets. Build so you can make a hockey trade this summer. So you have 3 second-round picks. You have 3 third-round picks. build these assets, and we can we'll address it all this summer.
Where are you on Marchand? Where are you on him?
You can't deal him. You can't.
No.
And it sounds like Marchand doesn't want to be dealt. He's come out and said that. The Bruins have kind of come out and said that they, as of right now, they don't see them trading him. And this is something I've really harped on for a while now, is like, when you talk about the Boston Bruins for the past 20 years, the first word that comes to mind is culture. It is. It's the culture that team has built. And right now, that starts and ends with Brad Marchand. They're not rebuilding. They're retooling. And if you're going to retool, you can't get rid of someone like Brad Marchand, because you need that in the locker room.
Yeah.
You need that culture in the locker room. So keep Brad Marchand. You got to find a contract. You got to pay the guy. I mean, he's taken 2 team-friendly deals back to back. So hopefully they can find some common ground with him. But you got to pay Brad Marchand, because the culture starts and ends with him. And he's going to be your biggest recruiter this summer. He just played on that Team Canada with all the best players in the world. You need a guy like Brad Marchand out there recruiting for you. So I'm not trading Marchand, but Morgan Geekie, Trent Frederick, Brandon Carlo, and Justin Brazeau, goodbye. See you later. I loved what they did for the team, but it's time to look to the future.
Everyone's on the table. Everyone, with the exception of a few untouchables.
I would do the Marchand, trade him, and then re-sign him in the summer. Marshy, go do it for the team, get a couple picks, and then come back and sign like Mark Recchi did in Pittsburgh, right, Army?
Yeah, and I'm looking at this. Carlo's a good one. He's got a modified no trade clause. He still has term left on his deal here through this year and into the next year before he's up. I think he has 2 more years after this year. So you look at what he makes too, is not a lot, 4.1, and term on his deal. So teams aren't getting a guy that's coming. They're getting a guy that's, coming
Edmonton just popped into my head.
28 years old. This guy, he's 28 years old and like pretty solid. Been doing it a long time for Boston. Yeah, and rock solid guy.
Why doesn't Edmonton go after a guy like that? I feel like he'd be a perfect fit there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I don't
Big,
know. Yeah,
long,
they got
lanky.
cap problems though, don't
Yeah.
they? There's your guy for Ottawa, your defensive stalwart.
There's a guy. Get him in there.
There's your guy. That's your guy too. Yeah, great job on Boston.
Good job.
I was hearing Marchand, the Florida rumors when we were in Montreal, which
Ooh.
were just bizarro world. But yeah, Marchand,
that would break my heart. That would fully break. Like, that would break me.
That, like, in my brain makes sense, just the way he plays too.
Imagine rolling him and Bennett out in the playoff series.
Oh my god!
Against the little Devils, against Pasha's Devils.
See you later. See you later.
Horrible for Hagens, boys. Horrible for Hagens.
Okay,
there you go.
And moving on, I just talked about Montreal Canadiens. I don't know if they're sellers or buyers. What are your thoughts on your old squad, Arm Dog?
Dvorak, Armia, Evans, Savard, UFA at the end of the season. Obviously, we talked a lot about Evans and the season he's having. There's been a lot of chatter about what he could provide to the depths of certain lineups. Did Pasha mention him in New Jersey? Not the biggest guy, but he's a workhorse out there. He does a lot of the hard things, and is producing this year as well on top of it. So I would stay the course, though, if I was them. They've got 7 picks in the first 3 rounds of the upcoming draft. I think stay the course. You're getting close. You've had some guys take some steps in growing. You got some guys that are pissed off in the Suzukis and the Caulfield that want to make the Olympic team the next year. You got a lot of motivation there. Slavkovsky will be a guy wanting to go to the Olympics as well. They've got a lot of guys that are just popping up. Hudson's, in his rookie seasons. Keep building. Keep staying with what you're doing. Marty St. Louis, the great messenger, teacher, coach that they have. They don't need to go do anything wild. If you can part ways with a couple things here and there, I understand it, but I don't think I see them as a team that's going to go making some crazy wild things like, hey, we need to get into the playoffs. Stay the course, Montreal. And I think Montreal fans are okay with that. I think they've sat through this long. They're waiting for things to percolate and things to happen inside of their team. So, a few minimal moves in and out of there, and we'll see what they decide to do.
Yep. Don't forget, Demidov is coming soon.
He's coming too. Oh my God.
Absolute superstar in the waiting. Moving on, we go to Philadelphia. I'm going to be the first to declare Philadelphia, you're not going to make the playoffs. You know how Fox News or CNN does it for the president? We're going to be the first to declare the state red or blue. I'm going to tell you, Flyers, you're not making the playoffs. Keep selling. Don't make any mistakes here. Keep selling. rebuild, rebuild, rebuild.
They sold last year. They've already kind of sold this year. They moved out Farabee and Frost, and brought in Kuzmenko, whose deal's up at the end of the year too, and Pelche, a younger guy and prospect, still trying to find his way. They have some guys that we have, right, Ristolainen, and some of these guys that may be heading elsewhere. Goaltending situation, those Russian goaltenders they have with Ersson, where's the room, how things are going to pan out, what's going to happen with these guys. They have a lot of options. They're in the same boat though too. Can you make some moves, get rid of guys, acquire more draft picks, acquire some more prospects, some more youth, and stay the course, right? They're in one of those kind of rebuild, retool situations as well here right now. And they're a team right now that's a culture team when you look at them. Briere and Jones said they're staying the course and selling right there. Miso in the chat. That's correct.
So,
They'll continue to stick with their plan. They're not in a rush. If they made the playoffs last year, bonus or whatever you want to call it, great, good for them, unexpected, but truly not expected. I think that's where they're at. So we don't have to hear about Jazz in our chat raging about how great his team is. They are what they are, and they're going to stick the course, Mur.
Yeah, Michov, keep getting points and try to cash that Rookie of the Year bet. Another team not making the playoffs. Sorry, Islanders. But they got some nice pieces they can move. Everybody wants Nelson. Lee is rumored. Palmieri is rumored. Some good guys, some good culture guys. These guys know how to play in the playoffs. They play the right brand of hockey. So I think there's some good value for them there.
They have cap space, but they never really do anything. They have players that just stay there and they re-sign like guys for 5-7 years. Like, it's like, when did that happen? Pierre Engvall as a guy. And they just have guys that are just there. But you got Nelson and Palmieri, UFAs up at the end of the year. A few guys else through the depths of their lineup, like not a big deal, but they are what they are. They are what they are. It's like, what's going to happen? You look at their draft coming up too, Murls. They have a pick in every single round, just standard. As per usual, just normal, nothing gained, nothing lost. They'll just do the draft. They'll just keep their guys. They'll just be the Islanders. That's it.
Yep. That's it.
There's
We're
the
not going to waste
Islanders.
any more time on them. They don't even get the full 2 minutes. Next team up, our alma mater, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Got to find a way to move Carlson. The playoffs are out of question. Try to get some of that salary cap away. Keep some of it if you got to get rid of him, and give him a chance to go play. We saw him in Four Nations. He's still got some game if he's in the right situation. Just right now, it's not the right spot for him.
Post away from a hat trick against the Flyers yesterday and their big comeback win. There's more production there. I don't think it's been the best. I think goal scoring could be up. He could shoot the man. This guy's got all the skills and talent. It's just putting it together and put him in the right spot, and then his salary, right? And what that is. So I don't know what's going to happen with him and where it could lead to and what kind of hoops you have to jump through at this time of the year to move a contract like that and what that would look like. But I wonder if there are some teams sniffing. I wonder if some other teams sniffing to take on salary. I wonder like where this could be and what Dubas is looking to do, because there's no question when you look at them and you look at their draft picks, and they have 11 picks this year, 11 picks in the draft this year coming up. So they've got some ability to try to do what they're looking to do, right? You got older guys, you got some guys, you have to rebuild the cabinets, you have to put some more prospects and picks and players in that situation. I think Dubas has made a point of getting guys that can come in and are young prospects that are playing right now in some of the trades that he's made. So you're acquiring these guys. I think Wilkes is doing fairly good down in the minors and trying to build like what we were a part of back then.
Yeah, good friend of mine, Kirk McDonald's the head coach down there.
Yes.
I just watched a little special on them. He's all about developing those guys. That McGroarty's down there. The first round pick, he said, is doing really well.
He's starting to produce like mad right now. He's on a little bit of a tear. So he's starting to find his way, build that confidence at the pro game and get that going. I saw you got tap danced on in a tilt the other day, though. Oh my God. He fought somebody, just laid the boots to him. But I like that he was mixing it up.
Yeah.
I like that he's in there mixing up. That's where you learn. I got my nose on my cheek a few times in the minors, Murls. No stranger to that.
Me
Not
myself,
a big deal.
too. Yep. Opened the wrong door a few too many times down there. That's why we look the way we do now. But we'll move on from them. We're going to go north to that team in Western New York. I'm not really allowed to talk about anymore, but they sound like they're going to be one of the bigger players in the next week. They got Greenway, Cousins,
I love
Byram.
Greenway.
These guys are all rumored to be out there. My theory is you package all three of them for Pettersson in Vancouver. He needs a fresh start. Greenway, Cousins, Byron. That checks a lot of boxes for Vancouver. I think that's a fair deal for everybody.
Yeah, they got some guys that could move. You got to be careful, though. I don't think you want to move some guys that need to be a part of the answer there. And you got to be very careful not to cut loose some of these guys. Buffalo fans in the chat, how many times have we seen and how many times are we seeing ex-Buffalo Sabres that were there that have gone on to be major players and the major answer in other teams on ways to Stanley Cup wins? I mean, the list is covered in the last 10 years on two hands. It's ridiculous of marquee guys. Identify what's not working there. Truly, what is it? What's the culture? Why is this happening? How is this happening? We've talked about this several times. I like Greenway. Come back off an injury. I've watched their team the last little while. Greenway has been an absolute beast. He looks healthy. He looks fresh. He's a big body guy. And like, he'd be a perfect guy for some of these teams to go snatch up and be in a situation on a good team. Pasha, what about your Devils? The Greenway in there, big body guy, revived, fresh, healthy, rolling again.
I'd like that.
You'd feel that, and probably not too much to get him, right?
Yep, reasonable price. Maybe a package, Paterka and Greenway.
Oh yes, there you go. Now you're talking. Now you're talking. They've got a lot of draft picks too. This Buffalo.
Yeah.
They're looking to acquire more, I imagine. And we'll see. Tuck, a guy that Pasha mentioned as well, as local Buffalo guy. So lots of question marks more than anything.
Local
in
Syracuse
Buffalo.
Star guy, just like myself, Harley, Tim Conley, Robert Esch, Robbie Shrimp, Brian Gianta. The list goes on. Dustin Brown,
the Syracuse
Stars. Don Kernan is a legend. He's the one that developed all of us. Shout out to him. He went into the New York State Hall of Fame last year. Not a big deal. But that's it for the Eastern Conference. Time to move over to the West. And I got to go to you right away. This is your team for 3 or 4 years now. The Winnipeg Jets just ended an 11-game win streak. Somehow they lose to Nashville. Like, pathetic. I know it was back-to-back and Comrie was in net, but you gotta keep that streak going against Nashville of all teams.
But it's just you take your back-to-back, you take your foot off the gas, Murls. The Jets 11-game win streak here in the doldrums of the season. These guys don't give a shit. All right. They've got a couple issues. Ehlers, what are they going to do with him? What's going to happen with him? Some of these teams, the names we talk about, he's going to get paid, right? He's making $6 million. He's going to get paid. He's going to get a big raise. UFA at the end of the season going into next year. He's a guy that they have to figure out. Appleton, one of the best lines in the NHL with Niederreiter and their captain also in the mix, Lowry, who just welded a guy from Ottawa's eyes shut, knocked him out of the game. Just absolute beast. Maybe one of the toughest guys in the league. Neil Pionk, UFA. Now, this team has been this team. What do they need to put them over the top? What do they have to do? They tried last year, right, Murls? They tried last year.
They always try. They seem to always shovel day off. Great GM out there. He always tries.
He's crafty. He's crafty as hell. What do they need? What's going to be the difference? I think maybe if you look at their D core, they've got some good mobile D, Morrissey, Pionk, DeMello. They're a little bit on the smaller end of guys, though. Like, really, you know what I mean? They play hard. I give them that, but there's another big defenseman. They need a big, lanky defenseman back there that can play and give you good minutes and be a good tandem and do the hard things. And that'll, push it down a little bit more for them. But I think they need a top 6 D-man that's big and lanky. And if they could swing a couple of those guys in there, that would be something huge. Sammy Cosentino on Wednesday Night Hockey up at Sportsnet, I was watching. He named both Schenn brothers. They've been linked of going together to a few places. The Leafs, Sammy Cosentino throughout Winnipeg Jets. And that makes sense to me. That really makes sense to me with both those guys. Hard-nosed styled Western Canadian boys into a team that they just need kind of that extra little pop in the right areas to maybe put them over the top and be difference makers. That's what they're going to have to do.
Yeah, I see. I mean, Alexiak fits that. Ivan Provorov, if they can grab him out of Columbus, if they make a good enough offer, Columbus would go for that. That's the kind of guy you're talking about. Moving on, Dallas Stars, huge cup favorite. Heiskanen is out right now, but he'll be coming back. This team is a true contender. I don't really see much weakness in their game. Do you see anything they need?
I see anything they need. Like for me, like in the last few years, like what are they missing? This is a year that in particular is rather big for them. Granlund UFA, Ben UFA, Dodonov UFA. You look down the list of this team, right? On their back end, CC, who they picked up, Brendan Smith, who's been a warrior, doesn't make much, but he's kind of that mold of guy that we're talking about too. Play, move pucks, be a good player, solid partner. They have no first or second round pick coming up this year. Like they're in that phase of the things. They've had great runs. Where's the pop that they're going to need? They rely highly on full team depth, full team play. They've made some moves already. They're Team Finland. They're Team Finland, Murls. What are they going to do? I'd imagine I can also see them not doing anything. They've made their deals already. They went and got guys. They went and got Granlund. They went and got CC. They padded some of these areas. And I think that they're probably happy because that's the way that team is built. They're built top to bottom. Like no one really is like, totally stands out. It's just a matter if they can put it together. How much you trust some of these guys getting it done in the playoffs when it counts, when it matters. Robertson, some of these guys that are supposed to be game breaker guys.
Yeah, I mean, they were right there last year. This team is going to be another one. They do it every year. Vegas Golden Knights, my team. Cool. They looked like they were done. They don't have any room to do anything. Theodore goes down. Now the cap space is there. They're going to do something. Not sure what it will be, but I'm excited to see what they'll do next week.
Yeah, like they're the what do we call them? They're like the bad guys. They're the Razor Ramon bad guys of the NHL in a sense of they're going to LTIR incoming from Wolt in the chat. Yeah, that's what everyone thinks. Everyone thinks something's coming down and they're cutthroat. They don't care. And, they're going to make their assessments on their team, but they're a team that is on the tip of everyone's tongue as a team that could win the cup this year, as they have been since they've come into this league. So, but they're going to do something, right, Murls?
Yeah, so I got a Vegas insider. I know we haven't had him in a while. He's been making some big business deals out there. He told me two things today. He goes, they might be looking for a left-handed center or left-handed D just because Theodore and Carlson, who knows when they're coming back. They got some guys in Henderson they could move. But then he tells me yesterday an Irish guy showed up at his business and tried to sell him some asphalt. Unbelievable. Mig's like, dude, he walked over, like, can I help you? And the guy's like, why? I can help you out of here. What did he say? I got some asphalt for you. Like, it was crazy. It was a really nice pickup truck. The guy's like, oh, I just finished a job. I just want to throw this down there real quick. And he's hitting Miggs. Thank God for Biz. Miggs knew the story.
Now we know the scams.
I lost the text. I can't find the full text, but we'll get Miggs on maybe next week to tell
they like to target the elderly. Maybe they thought Miggsy looked like he was 90 years old. Little Miggsy, hey? A little Miggsy.
Enough of Vegas.
They have no first round picks the next 2 years also. And
that's no surprise.
Yeah, they don't care
for the next 10 years.
They don't care. They don't care.
So next up, Minnesota. I don't know when Kaprizov's coming back. I thought he'd be back after the Four Nations. He's still not back, but they're hanging around. Now Eriksson Ek got hurt. So what do you think of Minnesota?
Yeah, Marcus Johansson, UFA. They got some guys in there. I like them. Like, can they win? They've been a team that's been in conversation as like a story this year. Injuries kind of reared their heads on this team a little bit. I don't think they have, when you got Freddie Gaudreau or like one of these guys is like your top line centerman. Like I don't think you're a team that can get it done. You know what I mean? And some of these guys. So what are they going to do? How are they going to make it work? What are they going to set up for next year? I think that should be a focus for them. I would like to see them go on a run. I want to see Flower in the mix. I like him, obviously. Good buddy of ours, Murls. Drove him to his first NHL game. Yeah, we know the story. But I don't know if they are what they think they might be or what they think they could be when the chips are on the table. Could they win a round?
No.
You don't think so? I don't know.
No.
That's where we're at.
Who would they play right now? They're playing Dallas in the first round. No, I love Billy G. Even though he chirped me in Montreal for wearing a Swedish hat. I don't see them beating Dallas. So move on from them. Edmonton. I asked Witt today, what's your team want out of the trade deadline? He said Broberg and Holloway back.
So he wants them back.
wants him back. I don't think that's happening. Evander Kane's supposed to return at some point. That's basically a trade deadline deal. We talked about their cap space. Don't know if they ever have room, but they could use a D. So that's Edmonton.
Yes.
We'll see what they do.
Yes, they need a D, right? They need a D.
Yeah.
If you get Kane back, question marks, right? Like, is he gonna, how long is it gonna take for him to find his form? I remember the last injury he had or the time he missed. He joined, I believe, Edmonton. He scored in his first game in and was took off like a pistol. So can he do that again here as he's aging a little bit and had some of these injuries and surgeries? I like to think he could get in there. He's in unbelievable shape, and he's just like a difference maker guy for them in the lineup. So maybe the Schenn brothers too. I kind of floated that out at Witt. I don't know. That depth moves. It kind of bumps guys up. Nuge. You could kind of stack
all them guys.
I know. How do you make it work?
Yeah. No,
how do you make it work?
I think those are too big. You'd have to lose somebody big for that. No.
Yeah. Maybe some draft picks and stuff. Depends with St. Louis. They probably want guys that can play if you're getting rid of a Schenn, right?
Oh, yeah. They want everything if they're going to move him. Next up, LA, my fraud squad. They screwed me again. I bet on them the other night. Biz, they're the best. I know they're great at home. So I finally bet on them, and they lose to the Vancouver Canucks. They're frauds. They're on the road in the playoffs right now at Edmonton. They will not win that series. That's why they're frauds if you don't get out of the first round. I love Kempe. I love Fiala. Don't get me wrong. Only rumor we've heard on them is Byfield might get rumored.
Yeah,
which is just
what the hell's up with that?
I think that's nuts.
LA fans in the chat, what the hell is up with this floating of the Byfield in the thing? They've had other guys that have had really tough years, offensively, like Moore, sleepy, yawn, Dano, sleepy, yawn, nothing. He's like a guy that came in there and was like a 30 goal. Where are these guys, LA? And I know they're shut down, and I know they're lock it down, and they'll be tough to play against, no question. But you got to get some goals. And Byfield, yeah, okay, but I watch him, and he's on pucks. He's a battler. He's big. He's fast. All the stuff they said he wasn't going to be good at, he can do. And I think consistency with some of their guys, consistency issue this year. It's been a weird year. They'll be tough to play against, Murls. Biz is right. They'll be tough to play against.
They're not beating Edmonton, and they're not beating Vegas. So
unless
they want to drop down to the wild card. We're moving on.
Hold on. Jeremiah in the chat says Byfield's name being named in the Rantanen deal. Haven't heard anything else concrete.
Okay,
Jeremiah.
well, that would be a different story. If you're going to get a guy like that and you can get him signed, then yeah, you can send your best prospect over there. But besides that rumor
would be a
crazy.
good fit. Rantanen would be a better fit in LA than he would in Carolina with his playing style and the way they play.
Anywhere but Carolina, he'd fit in better. Next up, Colorado. I think they're done. They've already made their moves. They got the goalies in. Our guy, Nichushkin, came back last night. That's a deadline ad. Who knows what Landeskog, he'll come back. But
my God, that bet you made. You're like, oh, yeah, Lehkonen for sure. The big horse is back. Ding, 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 ding. Just rattled it off. You called the game. You crystal balled it, Murls.
Yeah. I won that one big, but I lost game of the month yesterday on Timra. I'm done with them, by the way. And another note. And bringing up Timra, I just did that. That just happened. Pettersson and Vancouver Canucks are the next team up. Ooh. Besser is probably the biggest rumor going out there that they can't get him re-signed. He's on the move. Teams would love to grab that kind of goal scorer.
It's just been such a thing in Vancouver. Can they get it done? What are they going to do? They have picks. They have a first and a second in the next 2 years. So they have capital in the draft to be able to muster out something with a player trade or a package of some kind with guys to go get something that they think they need. But it's I don't know. When I look down their lineup and I look who's the best forward on their team? Who would you say their best forward on their team is?
Probably the guy Garland.
Every
time I bet against them, he scores. I can make Connor Garland a 50 goal guy. Connor Garland, if you hear this, my Venmo is open. Just send me some money. I'll bet against Vancouver every game, and then you'll score every game. You'll score 82 goals on the season. It's very simple.
He's unbelievable. He's their best forward. He's all over it. He's everywhere. Besser, UFA, though. Priya Sutter down in the lineup at UFA. Are they going to re-sign some of these guys back? Can they get them for cheap? Just looking through their lineup, and they got some injuries and dealing with stuff. But what's going on there? Are these Alvin? Is Alvin going to be slinging him? Does he have Jimmy in his ear just saying, hey, make some moves, make a big move? We got Miller. My trigger finger's itchy. We got to make another splash. We got to do something. And what could be on the table? And, Besser's been a guy that's been in rumors there too for like 4 years, Murls.
Yeah. So, all right, moving on. I'm going to be the first to declare Calgary Flames, you will not make the playoffs. So sell Anderson and sell Coleman. Get as much as you can. You're 4 or 5 years away from this. Also, I'm putting Seattle. You will not make the playoffs. Sell anything you can have. Teams that still are hanging on. They're hanging on to that toilet bowl, trying to get flushed down. Utah and St. Louis. What do you got on these two teams, Army?
What are we doing right now? Where'd you go to?
St. Louis and Utah.
Oh, St. Louis and Utah. I mean, St. Louis can sit and wait and have these teams call them for their guys. I would love that after what they did to Edmonton last year and got those young bodies in there. I think they just sit and wait to see what happens and what comes calling and make a calculated risk assessment on like their team and what they could be and who they have. Utah, on the other hand, I think they could make some moves. I think they could be a team that could sell some of their guys. And I had them in the playoffs this year, Murls. Did you have them?
They're only 2 points out right now of that last wild card spot.
I know, but like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like, this is the question. This is where decisions have to be made. And do you sit? Like, what do you do with some of these guys? And I bet you Utah gets a lot of calls. I bet you they get a lot of calls because they have a lot of good middle of the pack kind of pieces that would help a lot of teams. They have a lot of guys like that. So I think they're going to be an interesting team to keep an eye on. Like, they're not good enough to like go on a run. Like, it'd be great for the fan base if you get in. It'd be great. And they've done some big moves. They did some big moves coming into this year. They signed some guys and they took a leap of faith here and said, okay, let's make a splash. You kind of have to do that a little bit in a new market. And they did. I give them credit, but I'll be interested to keep an eye on them and how much action will be coming out of Utah.
Yep. Now, and then on to this team somehow is back in it. I don't know how or why or what they're doing, but Anaheim, they're in the hunt now. Pun intended. Got to move Gibson. Got to move Zegras, right? Zegras been in talks for 2-3 years now. It doesn't fit the GM style. Got to move on from him. You got Leo Carlson as your number one center now.
Yeah. And they've been a youth movement team, right? They've got like, I think like 4 or 3 of their 6D on the back end are all 23 and under, maybe 21 and under. And, you look up front and what they're trying to do in rebuilding with that young youth and skill and what's going to fit, what's going to work, what are they going to do? I'd say this, though. Zegras has come on. He took that suspension. It was dumb, too. I like that he's, like, involved like that, though. Is that crazy to say? Am I crazy? I don't want to see a guy get hurt and knocked out or a headshot. But, like, I welcome that Zegras action. I welcome that nastiness in his play a little bit. We know you got the hands. We know you can do Michigans. We know, but like you're going to have to be a hockey player. And I like the step that he's taken coming back from injury and working his way in. And now he's getting a little bit of that fire in him, little nastiness. We've been waiting for it. Anaheim's been waiting for it. So do you hang on to him after all? That'll be the question.
I don't think there's enough room for him now. Carlson's taken that spot on the power play on that one flank where he plays. I just think he'd be better off on another team. He'll have more success personally because I do like him. I like his game. Rantanen for Gibson. Our guy Max thinks that could happen because Carolina always has goalie problems and injuries. So not that Gibson doesn't get injured too, but that's out there. Now. Last 3 teams, Nashville. I'm sorry. I don't think you can trade any of your players because the contracts are too big. If you want to get rid of Stamkos or Marshy back to their old teams or something like that, the contracts are too big. San Jose, you know what you're doing. One guy that's for interest there is Mario Ferraro. And then Chicago, we talked about Seth Jones wants out of there, and he would be a hot commodity for some teams.
I would sling some of those guys. I would be slinging. If I had a guy that was like, around 30 years old, like a Mario Ferraro, even that's been there a while, that can plays hard. Kid plays hard, good, decent player, can come in and, provide your locker room too. Great personality, unbelievable guy. And like, if I'm Greer, I'm just saying, hey, what are we doing? He's on the table. Oh, these are the names that are on the table. Let's go. Let's roll.
Yeah. Ryan Donato's a big name too out of Chicago. He's having a great season. unrestricted. So I think somebody will take a shot at him. He came into the league with the ceiling as high as he could go. First line all about, never really got there. This year he's shown it. So look for him to be on the move and bring a good price back to Chicago. But that brings an end to our preview. Unless you got anything else, you got one last crazy trade proposal to throw out there.
I got nothing right now. But I am, after doing this and researching for the show and getting ready and dialed in here, I have a feeling that we may have more action than originally thought of after the big pop, as I said before, Four Nations, and we got some of those big blockbusters moving it, and we're going, oh no, I'm going to be on Friday. I'm going to be at Sportsnet too, Murls, and we're going to have the big show. So it's game notes, big show. And I'm going, what are we going to have? What's going to happen? I think we're going to have lots. I think there's going to be lots. I think these guys are going to have little itchy trigger fingers, and everyone has a feeling they can get in, they can sell off if they're in those positions, and the teams want to put themselves over the top. So should be interesting, folks. Should be interesting. Chat was absolutely on fuego, just absolutely bullying everyone in the chat about their teams. My team. No, what about my team? Oh my God.
Yeah, that's it for trade deadline. Let's move on quickly to the picks. We got 3 games tonight. I saw you had some picks in early on the sheet.
I went in with you, bud. I had to get in some action with you there. Absolutely. Do you like what I did? It's only 3 games, not a big deal. But here's what I said before you give your EBR picks, which are highly detailed and obviously well thought out, unlike mine. I'm a psycho. Avs money line, Leafs money line, Dallas, LA, under 5.5 plus 375 when I checked into it. So I like that parlay. Some people will say in the chat, and that's not even great odds for that. Okay, I don't care. I threw it together. I like it. Okay, that's what I did.
Yeah, you just want the action. You want to tune into all 3 games.
Yeah.
Not lose your diaper money or your milk money. You just a little action, and if I get lucky and sweep all 3, then you sweep all 3.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a little more serious and you want a lot of action, here's my picks. I got the Leafs money line. I got Austin Matthews getting 2 points because the back end on the Rangers is depleted. I talked about it. And then I move on to the Colorado game. I'm taking Nichushkin, second game back, feet under him, 1 point, minus 135. That's it. Only got to get 1 point. And then my guy Lehkonen, 3 shots plus 135. I talked to him at the Four Nations. Did I tell the story on here or Chicklets? I can't remember.
I don't know. You talked to him?
I went, yeah, I talked to him at Four Nations. And I'm like, yeah, I always take you for shots. And he's like, what do you mean you always take me for shots? I'm like, I always bet on you to get lots of shots. You did really good for me last year. He goes, that might explain why there's all these people in my DMs telling me to shoot more. He says after games all the time, there's these random people in his DMs telling him to shoot more. He didn't know what they're talking about. He's like,
he's getting self-conscious about it. He's getting self-conscious about shooting. So it's in his head.
Yeah, I felt bad. So I said, oh, no, it's my fault, man. Sorry. I'll stop doing it. But nope, I'm right back on it, especially because he scored last game. He'll be on it again. Yep. So that's Friday. We're going to move on quickly. We'll do show mindsies. We'll just do me and you this week since we're running out of time here. Army, your show.
All right, my show is Max Talbot, our buddy, our good friend, Max Talbot. Huge, yeah, there it is. Huge bobblehead night to commemorate. And his bobblehead's doing the shush symbol. There it is, right there. He was in town with his wife, with his 3 kids, with a bunch of buddies, his mom and dad, who I haven't seen since 2008, probably. It was great to see them. They were always out ripping it up with us in Wilkes-Barre back in the day as well. And this is a bobblehead to commemorate the game they were down in the playoffs, had Philly on the ropes, but they were down 3-0. He fights Carcillo. There's a picture right there. And it worked. It worked. They come back. They go to work, the Penguins, down 3-0, just like they did last night. It was so funny that he was in the building for his bobblehead with the shush. He did the shush in the building. It was electric. Great to have Max back. Love this guy. Great teammate. And then they were down 3-0, and they came back, and Gino won in overtime on that game. It worked again. The shush.
Tell me you live bet Pittsburgh when they were down 3-0.
No, I didn't.
Nuts. Come on.
I didn't. I'm an idiot. I was hanging out with Max last night. It was so great. See everybody that was in there for him, supporting him. But that move, the shush move, It worked again last night. You know, another time it worked? Four Nations. Four Nations it worked. When I cracked out the shush at our appearance, Pink Whitney appearance, and the fans were booing me. Here it is. There's G right in my face. There's G yelling at me. Everyone's chanting USA at me. Look at G. He's getting up going. I'm telling him to shush.
I missed this. I missed it. I was
You're probably
down
handing out shots downstairs.
Yeah, I was down in the shots mixer.
But I was getting booed. I was getting, USA chanted to my face. I gave him the Max Talbot shush. And sure enough, it worked there. It's 3 for 3 with Max either in the building or you do the shush. It always works. Congrats on the bobblehead. Great to see you in town. Max Talbot and his family, Stanley Cup champion.
Yep. All right. My show, another NHLer, a tough guy, Rob Ray of the team out of Western New York. Not only did he go into the Hall of Fame, but like a couple nights later, he takes a puck in the forehead again, twice in 2 years, I believe. So the next game, hilarious move. He goes and sets up shop up in the 300s and he does the entire broadcast from up there instead of between the benches. But I wanted to congrats him on his Hall of Fame, his career there. I watched a little special on YouTube about the whole night. Just an incredible guy, bleeds blue and yellow. So Rob Ray's always been in the show. He's back in the show, legend. So that was a really cool story.
Yeah, roasted in the face with a slapper on the ice, right in his little cage there, and it hits him in the face, and he drops an F-bomb on the air. Like, can you imagine?
Yeah.
He's just an absolute weapon. And then they stick him in the nosebleeds. That's a great story. I mean, yeah, he's a Buffalo legend. And worth tuning into also on Sabres TV, of course. Right. Mindsies, Murls. You want me to go?
Yeah, you're up, buddy.
Here's my pitch right now for my Mindsies to the NHL, to the players, to the agents, and to the media. Think about it. Wrap your head around this. So we're getting all this news. Oh, we should pick him up. The cap's going up. We could fit him in. Oh, yeah, we have more room coming up in the future. We could plan to get all these guys. And, oh, this guy's a UFA. Oh, what's Marner going to get? $14 million. Rantanen, $14 million. Can we knock it off? $14 million. Come on. Here's my pitch to the league. The new minimum in the league now automatically is $1 million. If you get called up or you're signing a contract, you're making $1 million. It's the NHL. We got more money. The cap's going up. Yeah, okay, the big boys are going to get paid. They're going to get it, but we're bumping it up in the bottom now. We're taking care of the fourth liners. We're taking care of the third D pair. Now a $1 million contract for a third D pairing or the seventh guy, $1 million now is 2.5, 3. You automatically make 3. Fuck it. We got more money. Let's quit giving it to these show ponies and let's start giving it to the guys underneath. All right. That's what we're going to start spending money on. We're going to start spending money on the grunts, on the grinders, on the workers, on the guys that worry year to year if they're going to get a contract. Well, yeah, if you get a contract, it's going to be good now. It's going to be up on market value because the cap's going up. So our guys down in the depths are going to get their pay. We're getting the boys money. So Biz doesn't have to go grind and do commercials. He could have sat there and made $1 million per instead of league minimum. Or what is it now, $1 million? If you're $1 million, you're now $3 million. You're now 2.5. We're bumping it up for the boys. The cap's going up. The boys at the bottom are going up too.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I want to go up to 2 million. No, I used to say when we had that first lockout, I said, why don't we just make it very simple? 1 million to 5 million. That's all you can make. And everybody's going to be happy. Everybody's going to take a bunch of money. What can you do with 14 million that you can't do with 10 million a season? It's just crazy. Like you said, get everybody bumped up, whatever it is, 100 million.
The forgotten guys, the forgotten soldiers, the forgotten players down in the depths. And we all talk about the big show ponies, the guys that dance, and rightfully so. They deserve to get paid. They deserve their money. But in managing that new cap that's rising exponentially, let's move the bottom up a bit too. Let's take care of the boys at the bottom. Let's get that moving too, big boys.
Yeah, the PA always sells out the rookies because there's no rookies in the PA. There's no rookies that are the agents, so they don't care about them. They don't care about the low-level guys, but that's why you're here, Army, trying to take care of them. I love that, Mindsies. Now, my Mindsies is embarrassing. I don't want to say it. I haven't told anybody this, but I got to put myself in the Mindsies because one of my biggest things on this show is chirping you about getting Sid to come on game notes.
Yes. Yeah.
Every time you mention him, I say, oh, you got him to come on, right? So I'm in Boston. I find myself next to Sid for 20, 30 minutes sitting there.
What the fuck?
And I did not ask him to come on game notes. I didn't bring up game notes once to him.
You got hypnotized.
Completely embarrassing. I'm a joke. I'm in the mindsies because I finally had my chance to lock him into it. I said, he's at Murls, tell this story. Murls, tell that story. I said, I'll tell this story if you come on game notes at the end of the season. But nope, I forgot. I'm in the mindsies. Embarrassing.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. You had your shot. Yeah. That's good that you checked yourself, though. That's called accountability, Murls. And I appreciate the accountability by you right there. That is mindsies. It's harder than you think, though. Hey, when you got the big boy next to you to just go, hey, man, can you come on a show? Hey, remember game notes, dude? Come on. It's Murls. It's me. Like old times. Let's go. We'll trick them this year, though. We'll get them on at the end of the year. We'll get them on for an episode, maybe a quick playoff edition style. I would love that.
Yes.
All right. Want me to move us on to Saturday, buddy?
Yep.
All right. Saturday, 13 games. Here we go, folks. We're into the weekend. Everything's popping off. 13 games. What are you looking at for us, Murr?
Early games. You know, I'm the early game guy. Tampa Bay. I've been on them the last few nights. I love this team. We talked about it. I think they can go into Washington and steal that game. Money line plus 108. And then the little bit later, still an early game, though. Pittsburgh, Boston over 5.5. You don't see it. You saw it earlier. My shirt, Mr. Ice. He's hit the last 3 Penguins overs. So I will be riding with him on that. You know he's going to be on them again. Jackets money line in the big outdoor game. It's in Columbus. 120,000 so people will be there. I hate that I can't be there, but I'm going to go with the Jackets and their vibes. They took care of Detroit last night on the mom's trip. I think they take care of them on the big scene again. Our Winnipeg Jets 3-way minus 135 back at home. They're going to take care of the Flyers, who I've declared out of the playoffs. And then I told you about these Ducks. Mighty Ducks 3-way. They'll take care of Chicago, who is just, they're done.
Well, you're not going to linger around that early Predators Islanders game as like you could. Yeah.
I was tempted, but then I said, I like Tampa Bay. I'd much rather watch Tampa Bay than watch the Islanders.
Hell yeah. It's a no-brainer.
So
that's a good 13-game Saturday all day long, starting, as we said, at 12:30 with a couple games, and it'll take you all the way through. That's a nice little weekend setup for you. Of course, keep an eye out for Murls' other picks always coming in. You never know. Europe, anything's happening. He's always dialed. So there's his Saturday picks. And then we want to move on to Sunday, Murls. We got Sunday. What do you got here for us on Sunday as we hit March 1st on Saturday? March 2nd. We're into March already, buddy. This is March 2nd, Sunday.
Happened. Yeah, Four Nations just completely deleted February from me. So, yeah, Sunday, Toronto pit over. Telling you, keep riding these pit overs till they buck you. Carolina 3-way at home versus Calgary, who I also declared out of the playoffs. So I got to ride that theme. New York Rangers 3-way. I am going to go against Nashville there. I think the Rangers are in a good spot there. They seem to do good on Sundays. I won big on them last Sunday. So I'll go there again. And then my Vegas money line at home. Any chance to chirp Pasha, I'm going to do that. So Vegas at home versus the Devils to wrap up the weekend card.
Attaboy. There it is, folks. There you got it all. You got the weekend. Check us out on social medias for everything. Stay on top of everything. At Game Notes Bud on X and on Instagram at Game Notes. We got it right there for you. We'll keep you up to date on all the picks and all the clips and everything you're looking for. Share with your friends, share the show, favorite it, heart it, whatever you do, ring the bell. All the kids do it. Thanks for everything. And the chat was buzzing today, Murr.
Yeah, we needed the chat buzz, and they came through. I'm going to go back and read all of it because I'm sure that we missed a couple really good deals in there. Shout out our sponsor, Body Armor Flash IV. Go to 7-Eleven today, get your own. It's amazing. You just one-time these things, and you're back. I have a couple side notes. RPI, Acha, I should have said it when G was on here, club team. They won their division or whatever. They're going to the national championship, so shout out them. Also got a shout out Hockey Day in Houston, March 15th. Ooh. They're doing a big watch party at the Maple Leaf Pub. Name like that makes me think Biz has ownership in it, but we talked about them last year. I think they got 4,000 fans to just go watch a single game because they're still trying to get an NHL team there. I saw some rumblings that from some agents that that's the #1 spot for the next NHL franchise would be Houston. So shout out them. And the last thing, you want to announce next week's show?
Next week's show, trade deadline extravaganza show. We love doing these. We got that with the final game at the Four Nations. Anytime we can get one of these, it just so happens Friday lands right on trade deadline day. I'll be at Rogers Sportsnet all day, starting in the morning on TV nationally, just ripping it up. But we're going to fit this show in for you. I may be coming in and out, Murls. I think we're going to have to sort that out. 1 till 3 deadline extravaganza. We'll make it work. We're going to try to line up some guests. We're going to line up some secret insiders. I do have a secret guy that no one is aware about in the league. He's kind of the architect and guy that is a consultant really for teams. He builds trades. They call him off the hook. He's the kind of the brains behind a lot of operations. He loves doing three-way trades. That's his specialty. But he is highly connected. His phone never stops, and these GMs and teams rely on him. Just a massive consultant that operates ghost-like in the NHL that no one really knows about. We found him. He'll make an appearance. He's got a lot of things to say coming out of the shadows.
Wow.
And making himself known on Game Notes next week on the Extravaganza.
I love it. Exciting time. See you guys next week. Thank you, Body Armor.
Have a great weekend.